Welcome to the Solidity Insurance Group team call. My name is Marisa Maggio, and today is already July 10th of 2025. So, guys, we are officially in quarter three. And I really do sit back every week and think, like, what is something that the team needs to hear? What's something that I need to hear, right? What's something that maybe you need to hear, right? And the biggest thing that this business always comes back to, no matter where you are in the business, you could be Sean in the business or you could be your first day in the business. It's always going to come back to your mindset. Your mindset is everything. And within the mindset, there's so many different things, there's so many different avenues that we could hit on. But somebody who I've really always connected with since I had the opportunity to meet him has really been never confused that things start with your brain. Things are always going to start up here and they're going to manifest from there. So I'm really excited to have on with me our teammate, Devin Jeffries. Devin, how are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. Thanks so much for having me today. It's an honor to be here.
Hey, and it's an honor to have you on, truly, especially with the topic at hand. And, Devin, for those people out there who maybe don't know you or this is their first time kind of hearing from you, if you don't mind giving us kind of a quick introductory of who you are.
Well, yeah, so thanks so much for that. I came into the insurance industry in 21. I was under a different team at the time, and what I came in kind of like guns blazing, and then I hit my cooling off period, right, for a little while. And the problem was, is there was nobody there at that time to teach me what that meant to actually keep that fire going and keep it being fueled constantly all the time. And so what happened was throughout the course of just a bunch of unfortunate events, some of which were nobody's fault. It's just life, right? Life happens, things happen. But the original team that I was on completely disbanded. And I felt like I was a fish out of water in that moment, if you will. And one of the things that I got sent to was actually where I met Christina. And I've told Christina this before. She saved my family first life career because I was ready to quit. I was ready to be done. I felt like I was by myself, like I had nowhere to go. And what I really learned through it all was the biggest thing was whenever I was on that team, I could do five, six, $7,000 in a week and be number two or number three. I could do 15, 16, 17, closer to 20 in a month and be number one or number two. And then I come over here to this team and I'm like, this is the big leagues. These are not like those are puny numbers here. So, I remember like sitting down and having multiple conversations with Christina about that. And what I really needed to do was to take a step back for myself, and then figure out who it was that I am at my core. There were a lot of life changes happening all at once, and I'd been married my entire career, and I'm very blessed that I didn't have a practice company. But before Family First Life, I was actually a counselor. And I loved it. I was very good at it. I was very good at connecting with people. And what happened was along the way, I lost sight of who I was as a counselor and the very things that I gave people to be able to help them to understand why they work and are wired the way that they are and how to win the war. Because that's what it is. It's every single day, it's a war of the 6 inches between your ears. And if you can win that war day in, day out, then you get to become the best version of who you are. And ultimately, that's where I got back to. So I mean, I've been doing this now for several years. Most of you guys have met my beautiful wife, Brittany. And then I actually come bearing gifts today.
I
So
heard. I can't wait.
most of you guys are aware that we have a beautiful 2-year-old daughter. I'm very excited to tell you guys she's going to be getting a sibling later on this year. So we just found that out. My wife is due in December, so we're super excited for it. It's a true act of God Himself. So cannot wait to be a dad of two and a family of four.
Amen. And congratulations. I'm so happy for your
Thank you.
family. You know how much I love you, Brittany and Ariel, and just that one new addition. I can't wait for that for you guys and just so, so exciting. So thank you for sharing that on the call with the entire team.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so exciting.
No doubt. And now, just to kind of transition, so I love how you said, 21, you came in, you were with a different group within FFL, guys, just so that nobody's confused. Um, you came in guns blazing. You were maybe doing 5, 6 a week, and that was getting you to 20, 25 a month. And that was kind of the definition of winning within that organization, so to say.
Mhm.
When that organization, split or whatever we want to say, so to say, and you didn't, Devin, you wanted to stay here with Family First Life for blatant reasons, if you ask me. But it sounds like you kind of had, in a way, like you felt like, okay, I have to almost restart or I have to hit a reset button because I have to be better than what I'm doing now. And that was not necessarily true at all. So I love how you said I had to take a step back for a little while to figure out, essentially recenter myself with who I am. And guys, now before I let Devin crank on this, because I am going to let him crank on it because for obvious reasons, his background, etc. But also because I never want anyone to lose sight on this team or just in the industry that like I am well aware that things do happen. I am a person too, right? But we have control over a little bit more than we think at times. So I'm just really excited to be on this call with you, Devin, and be able to just kind of unpack that today. So kind of talk to us a little bit about that transitional period and maybe how that hurt you or helped you, so to say, with your mindset.
So one of the biggest things that pieces of advice that I was given, and Christina preaches on it every week, and I know you do as well, Marissa, is having that set schedule. And I remember for me, I didn't quite understand what that meant beyond the FFL world. And so what I learned was until I handled business outside of work, outside of the distractions that face us every single day, I began to set a schedule for my life, not just my business. And that was truly one of the things that really made so much more sense. And so for me, it was always said, "Hey, when are you going to dial? What leads are you going to get? How much? How are you going to do this? How are you going to do that?" And the answer every single time was no idea. I remember sitting there with my head in my hands at my desk multiple times, going, "How in the world do I set a schedule up when I don't even know where to begin for my life?" Because here I am, a married father, and like most of you guys know this, but I mean, like my wife's a baker and she does everything from home, but that's not exactly a money generating deal. That's almost more like a money pit if you do. All right. And but the thing that I learned was I had to set a schedule for my life before I could set a schedule for who I was as an insurance agent, as a family first life broker, and ultimately a member of this team. And so for me, my schedule, I used to just like wake up every single day and I had no idea what the plan was. Like, we're just gonna make stuff happen and look up and but darn, it's 5 o'clock. I gotta go. But the thing was, whenever I set the schedule for my life and what that was going to look like, it looks a little bit different than some people. First off, I'm not one of those people. For those of you who are, well done, you win. Okay. I'm not a guy. You're not getting me up at 4 a.m. It's just not happening. Okay. If you're not my daughter or my wife, I'm not getting out of the bed for you at 4 a.m. All right. It's just that simple, even for myself. Okay. But that said, that does mean that I can still have a schedule that reflects an attitude of positivity and a schedule that reflects and puts me in a position to win before the workday even gets started. So for me, one of the things I did was I wake up every day now between 6:30 and 7, depending on how the toddler did overnight. And most of the time, I'm happy to say it's around that 6:30 time frame. And the first thing that I do before my feet ever hit the floor is I just say a prayer. One of the things that David prayed in the book of Psalms was he said that God would order his steps. And so for me, I just ask God to just order my steps every single day. And am I perfect about it? Absolutely not. Are there days that I wake up and I just want to complain and complain and complain? Yeah, absolutely. But I get up and before my feet even hit the bed, I just say a little prayer. And then I go out onto my back patio. For me, that's my quiet place. My girls aren't even up yet, and I read. Sometimes I read scripture. Sometimes I read the book. I'm very happy to say that here lately it's been this one right here by John Whitmore. And so I find a book that I'm going to dive into and truly unpack. And then before I go to my desk, I get my breakfast, I help get my daughter up, and then I go get in the shower and I put something. I work from home. My This is my home office at home, and I made sure that every day I come in dressed like I'm ready to go if a $5 million appointment says, "Hey, I need you to meet me right now." Okay, like I'm ready to go, no matter where I am and no matter what happens. So I don't come up front in gym shorts and a t-shirt because that puts me in a lazy mindset. So for me, I want to make sure that above all, my schedule is going to put me in a place to win and be successful long before I ever hit this desk.
I love that. And I think that I know that a lot of us struggle with schedule. It's like at one point, if you're not struggling with it right now, at one point or another, you're going to struggle with it. That's okay. But just like Devin's saying, you got to get a grasp on it. I love how you said you have to set a schedule for your life and then you have to set your schedule for family first life. And it kind of goes
Mhm.
back to, how I always say, you got to work on yourself harder than you work on the business, and the business will reap the reward. It's the same thing, right? Because your schedule is going to balance itself out. And when you have that set schedule and when you wake up, you're saying that prayer, you're giving that gratitude, so to say, or however anybody else wants to interpret that, you're giving that, belief to God. It's really hard to get up and be like, now I'm going to complain after after I was just gave my gratitude to God, right? Like that wouldn't feel good for me. I know that. And you know how I know, Devin? Because I do the same thing before I get out of bed. And before my feet even touch the ground, it puts you in a place that your mind is in an attitude of gratitude, no matter what you're waking up to. And I love how you said you go outside and essentially you are on your patio by yourself with your book of choice, so to say. So it's like you have something that you're looking forward to in a way. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. And the book is going to be something that's going to challenge me and make me grow.
Amen.
I'm not looking to go read a murder mystery book, okay,
Right.
and disappear for a little bit. I'm the type of person that, to me, if I'm going to read, it's going to be something that is going to be of use for me. There are times, and this is one thing that I'll hit on later, but there are times it's okay to be selfish and take that time for yourself and say, "This is for me. This book is for me. This time is for me."
Amen. Absolutely, there are. So I love how you're getting on the patio. It's your quiet place. It's a place that you feel mentally leveled, so to say. And then you're doing your reading, you're coming in the house and you're getting ready. I think that this is a big thing kind of too to hit on. Guys, some of us will roll out of bed and we're going to be our best self here on Zoom, okay? Other of us, okay, like as an example, Devin. I used to drive to the Connecticut office back when we were in home 2 days a week. It took me 3 hours to get there. And I dressed there like I was in the financial district in Boston going to work. And a lot of the guys, including Sean, by the way, guys, our CEO will walk around in Nike shorts and in a Nike shirt. You know why? Because that's how he feels good about himself. But that's what he wears. Sean is good in Nike shorts and a shirt. Now, I wasn't good in Nike shorts and a shirt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they were like, basically, like, why are you wearing that? And I was like, why are y'all wearing that? Like, you know what I mean? And they're like, you don't have to, you don't have to get dressed up to come to the office. I was like, okay, cool. But you know what I continued to do? I continued to do whatever made me feel good about Marisa going into work, right? Because it doesn't matter, Devin. Like, if I'm like, Devin, you're working from home. You should wear your pajamas. Like, okay, honestly, you probably shouldn't wear your pajamas because you're going to stay in a lazy mindset, in my personal opinion. But do what makes you feel good. Wear what makes you feel good. That's the best thing about being virtual is like do what makes you feel good. And for me, even in that time at the office, feel what made me feel good was getting ready and knowing, hey, I showed up and I showed up for myself in this way as a professional, got things done, got home, felt good walking in my house with my heels on. It was all good, right? So also understanding, guys, sometimes it's the small things, right? Even like everything we're going to talk about today is going to be a small thing, but it's the small things that trigger the brain the most, right? So, Devin, talk to us a little bit about what's transpired from then to now.
I became comfortable with who I am in the 6 inches in between my ears. You see, one of the things that I think we have a tendency to do as people, we have a tendency to compare ourselves. Well, I'm not on that leaderboard. Well, I'm not this, and that person they don't understand because they don't have. I've literally said these words before. They don't have a spouse and kids that they have to deal with throughout the day. They don't understand. They can't get it. Blah blah blah. The biggest thing that I think we tend to do is comparison is the thief of joy. And one of the things that really became who like who I am as a person is I stopped seeking things that made me happy and I started seeking joy because there's a big difference. There's a huge difference between happiness and joy. In fact, I listened to this last week. I listened to a video that Nick Saban did, and this was something that he shared with every single team that he coached while at the University of Alabama. He said this. He said, if you want to be happy for an hour, eat a steak. If you want to be happy for a day, go play golf. If you want to be happy for a week, go on a cruise. If you want to be happy for a month, go buy a new car. But if you want to be in life or happy in life, then ask yourself one question. If I didn't show up here today, would anybody miss me? Because then you accomplish something that is of significance. If you can learn and teach yourself to be the best version of who you are, the way that God Himself created you to be the best agent, where you get to look yourself in the mirror, knowing you did right by clients, knowing you did right by people, and knowing you did right by yourself, then you've achieved it. Then you've achieved joy. It's only then that you're going to truly be able to see and understand the type of person that God actually created you to be. Because here's the thing that's unique is there's no other you. There's no other Marissa Maggio out of the 7 billion people on God's earth. There's not another one of those. There's not another Christina. There's not another Rami. There's only one, which means you have a very unique set of gifts that only you can accomplish. And so, whenever you begin to find that joy within you about who you are and being confident in your abilities, in your skill sets, then you can find joy. Because, see, the problem is we're chasing all the things that make us happy. And the thing is, happiness is fleeting. Joy stays with you.
That's huge. And I think that the biggest thing that I heard there, yes, happiness versus joy, but above that is I became comfortable with the 6 inches in between my ears and within myself. And guys, like, there's been so many times in life that I haven't been comfortable with myself and I had to do things to fix it. And maybe those things were really uncomfortable. Maybe they were really uncomfortable to intimidate the reality of what was going on. Maybe it was really uncomfortable for me to admit to myself that like I was robbing myself of what I needed, right? But once you can get comfortable with who you are and like not even to be corny, like just like Devin said, like there is only one you. No one is built like you. No one. That's the best news in the world because nobody can take your God-given ability away from you. Nobody can take you wanting to learn a skill set away from you. No one can do that except you. So if you just focus on what you need to become to be comfortable within yourself, it's not what this person tells you that it's what do you need? And what you need and what I need could be two completely different things. And to be honest, they might be. They probably are. But guys, when you can get comfortable within your own skin, you're in a really, really powerful place. Devin, would you agree with that?
100%. And I think the biggest thing that I learned, and I've heard Sean talk about this before, and I know I've said this to you before, Marissa, is I became comfortable with me and who I was. I found my schedule. I found all those things right. But then I settled in to a very, very tough place to be. And that's whenever I realized, Devin, nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody has all the magic answers. Quit looking for other people to guide and bring you along and say, come on, little buddy. That's not how this works. When you're your own boss, you make the decision every single day for how hard you are going to work. If there's no other you, then you are the only person who can truly decide what that actually looks like. Nobody's coming to save me at the end of the day, yes, look, I know that if heaven forbid I'm in a bad car wreck or whatever, and I need some help from somebody, I know where I can go that people would be there for me. Sure, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is getting out of the norm. And here's the problem: is what I'm saying is countercultural because the human nature is to simply survive. I remember when we were in home, I would go home every day and simply be like, "Man, I'm just glad I don't have to step over them cockroaches anymore." Because that was ugh, right. Or I remember, God, I'm glad that I've got this or I've got that. And then what I really began to learn, these people are just surviving. And the best part about it is you have the keys for your own next future. You have the keys for you to be able to unlock to face that pressure, to have that. You want to know pressure? Pressure is whenever you find out you have another kid and you weren't trying. Okay. Pressure is whenever your back's against the wall. Pressure is whenever you begin to find things about yourself that made you advance to that next stage, to stop surviving, to stop just being happy, to stop just being comfortable, but to truly pursue the things and the ways that you're wired and created. One of the things that Will Smith said one time, this was an interview done probably about 6 or 8 months ago, was he said, "I wished everyone could have everything that they dreamed because they would realize that that's not it." I thought about that and I said, wait a second. We're chasing all these things every single day. We're chasing the things every single day that we think are going to make us happy. I come from a line of addicts in my family, and it's one of the hardest things that from the outside, I understand like the addicts themselves, like I can't imagine that life, but the families of the addicts also go through a lot. It's a lot on them, and I didn't really know and understand what I was going to deal with watching my mother go through that. And then 2 years later, watching my brother go through it. And I've gone to hear my mom share her story time and time again. And I'm very excited to tell you guys this today. Like, I mean, my mom's like 4 years sober. My brother's 2 years. It's amazing to see them work and advance and grow the way that they have. But one of the things that I learned through hearing their stories is they always talk about rock bottom, right? And how until rock bottom and somebody hits that rock bottom place, that they're never going to make a change. I think that this also applies in life, though. I think until your back's truly against the wall, until there's no more outs. If you're the type of person that has to be led, you're only going to get so far with that person leading you. Take control of your own destiny because you can do that in this business. And that's the best part about it. But see, rock bottom applies to more than just addictions. And that's whenever they make the change. That's whenever they say, I don't want to do this anymore. But there's a corresponding place that a lot of people forget. And I like to call it, it's called a cliff top. They get to that cliff top, and this is where you get so high, you realize that none of the stuff can make you happy. You realize that once the materials have ended, you get to the end of the money, you get to the end of the things you've chased forever to have, and then you go off a cliff into the exact same abyss that you were scared of slipping into at rock bottom. That's where life loses all of its ability to sustain and to please you. And then the only thing that's left, which is the same place that's at rock bottom, is you have to find what you're actually looking for. What you're actually looking for is you. When you find a good man or a good woman to be in a relationship with, typically at its core, yes, is love. But you like how it makes you feel. I like how my wife makes me feel. She likes how I make her feel. Therefore, it's about how I love her as much as what I do because of the incredible woman that she is. Number one, yes, the beauty, yes, the fact that she's the mother of my children, but I love how she makes me feel about me. When you have money, when you have the things that you want, and it's great to be able to go and buy the stuff, it unleashes a feeling inside that at rock bottom and at cliff top, what we have to learn how to do is generate that feeling, harness that energy without anything external, to learn how to love you so much. That you like being alive so much that you like to bring positive energy to a team that's not generated by stuff, people, or possessions. Because here's the thing that I know and understand: stuff and people will come and go. Always. The people you love will rise and fall in life. But that place we have to find is a place where we're good with us. We trust us. I trust myself. I trust God that whatever happens in life, I'm going to make good of it. You can't break me. There's nothing that you're going to say that I haven't already thought of myself. I'm not willing. The question you've got to ask yourself when life punches you in the face is two things. Very, very simple. If you're not taking notes, I encourage you to write these things down. The first one you've got to ask yourself: is this going to matter tomorrow? If it ain't going to matter tomorrow, it ain't worth getting upset over today. If it's not going to matter tomorrow, it's not worth getting upset over today. The second question you've got to ask yourself, and this one deals when people when people tick you off, when people upset you. I spent 2 hours yesterday writing a $3,000 IUL for a lady that I had spent multiple appointments on. And 10 minutes after the Zoom, she calls me and cancels the whole deal. I'm mad. I'm upset. I'm frustrated. But here's the thing, and this is that second question you got to ask yourself: am I willing to give the person the keys to control my day? For me, she ain't worth it. For me, I'm on to the next deal. For me, I'm on to the next opportunity, because the next opportunity may not be a $3,000 IUL. It may be a $6,000. It may be a $100,000 annuity. I'm on to the next one. I'm frustrated in that moment, but I'll be dang, man, if I'm fixing to give somebody I don't know in the middle of God knows where the keys to ruin my day, you've lost your mind. There's no way. What
That
you
that
choose,
is so powerful.
yeah, what you choose to allow to ruin your day matters how much happiness and joy you have in your life.
100%. And I want to pause you there, Devin, because you're ripping, but you just ripped the law. And you know me, I got to recap. Like for myself and like, guys, seriously, if you're not taking notes and you're like, I'm having a hard time, guys, I promise you it's your mindset. Like I love you. I've been there. I promise you it's your mindset. Like period, end of story. So no one's coming to save you. Now, Devin, you and I spoke on the phone, give or take, I don't know, a couple of days back. And you had brought this up, the no one's coming to save you piece. And I had said to you, there was a moment in time I was at Founders Day and Sean came up to me. And Sean, as we know, is really intense and I love him for that. And he looked at me and he said, Maggio, you know no one's coming to save you? He asked us a question. And I said, yeah, I know. Like, just like that. Yeah, I know. He said, no. And he toned his voice up. Do you know that no one is coming to save you? And I looked at him and I said, yes, I know that. And he said, but do you know? Right? Did you mentally process that no one's coming to save you? So it's up to you. Now I had two choices that day. Like, let's be clear, okay? Because he, like, like Sean was blatantly like, Marisa, no one's coming to save you, right? I could have took that like he was bashing me, right? But that's not what was happening. All he was trying to do was make sure that I genuinely understood I am an independent contractor. Everyone goes through shit, including me and him, but no one's coming to save me. It's up to me. And that day changed a lot for me. It allowed me to reflect differently. It allowed me to say things like, is this going to matter tomorrow? It allowed me to understand I'm in control of my life, not anybody else. As I would call it, I hold the power stick. And when you hold the power stick in your life, like you're in control. Like you're in control. But the second you let go, that's right. But the
That's
second you
mine.
let go of this thing or you give it away, that's it. You can't give that away. So guys, no one's coming to save you. Um Also, rock bottom versus cliff top. I think that was a beautiful analogy how you use that. And, shout out to your family for getting through that and for you for getting through that. And congratulations on their sobriety, truly. And what you said about Brittany, your wife, you said, I love Brittany for a lot of things, but I love how she makes me feel about me. Now, guys, some of us are around people, including our friends and family, and they might not be doing it on purpose. They really might, that just might be who they are, but they might not be making you feel good about you. And
Right.
if you're in a place that's happening, you can let them know that. But to be quite honest, 75% of my friends 5 years ago would have been like, that's great, and just kept doing whatever they were doing. For me, I had to separate myself with certain people. Other people I had to have conversations with. But one thing you do need to do is call it in the room and figure that out because you need people around you who make you feel good about yourself because the last thing that anyone needs, never, I don't care where you work here, you work anywhere else, is going to work and not feeling adequate enough because the way that somebody else made you feel. Now you might be like,
Right.
no one could do that. I'm telling you right now, people do it all the time. And you might not even consciously realize it. That's why we're pointing this stuff out. So learn how to love you so much that you're not going to let anybody ruin that. And just like Devin said, people will come and go. Stuff will absolutely come and go. I can promise you that. But when you trust you, like you trust you, like you trust you, that's a powerful feeling. When you're dependent on you, like you're dependent on you, on you, on you, it's a powerful feeling. You're in the driver's seat. You have your power stick. But again, the moment you give that to your friend John, who wants to give his 2 cents about the stock market, and you just invested 50 grand in the stock market, and John's like, it's all going to crash and you're going to lose 50%, and there's no good you can see of that. And he's going on. Like, tell John he's an energy vampire and be like, John, respectfully, I'm good. Like, we're good on this topic. Like, love you,
Tell
we're
them to
good.
take a
All right.
hike.
Yeah,
Tell
exactly.
tell them
Like
to take
John,
a hike.
we don't need that negative energy in here. So like guys, if you got that around you, get it out. Get it out. Because just like Devin's saying, am I willing to give somebody else the keys to my mind? Because the second you do that, I don't care if it's your best friend, it's your mom, it's your dad, it's your brother, it's your sister, it's your business partner. I don't care who it is. The second you do that, you're going to feel so out of control that it's going to be so hard to get yourself back in check. And you're going to be asking yourself, like, what did I do? Well, all you did was listen to the wrong person and allow them, that enemy, to get in there and be like, oh, well, this is bubble and tell you all these stories. And then what's going to happen is you're going to find evidence to make it true because that's what the brain does. So I know I just
Right.
hijacked that, right? But it's like, am I willing to give someone the keys to my freedom, to how I feel about myself? And is this going to matter tomorrow? Devin's two questions. So like literally, guys, we'll all be asking ourselves that later, right? Like these are questions you got to ask yourself all the time.
That's right. And you know, the thing that I think one of or everybody at this point, if you haven't done it, and I would say in the last 90 days you need to do it. You need to take stock and inventory of the people that you have in your life. Because I will go ahead and tell you this, about 4 months ago, I pissed a lot of people off by getting them out of my life. But here's the thing, I only upset them because they couldn't take from me anymore. You see, there's two types of people in your life. There's going to be creditors and there's going to be debitors. Because to go way back to like teenage Devin, I like post college, I worked in a bank and I left banking to become a counselor and then counselor to here. And one of the things that the bank always did, they process credits first and then they process the debits, right? And the problem is too many people have entirely too much debiting out of their life. You have too many people that you're looking at and you're going, and here's how you know. Here's how you know. When their name comes across on your phone and you go, and you have to take a deep breath or whatever that. God, I hope nobody answers the phone and says that about me. But anyways, those are the type of people though that you have to ask yourself, am I allowing this person to credit my life? I'll go ahead and tell you right now, the leadership of this team are all creditors in my life. The people that I work with here and outside of here, they're creditors. The majority of my friends credit my life because I'm not going to allow you to pull from me. You're not upset that I told you to go fly a kite. You're upset I'm not letting you work with or work off of me anymore. You're upset I'm not letting you drag me down to your level. Because guess what, man? I love my wife and my girls way heck of a lot more than I love and care about you. So I'm not going to allow that person or whoever they are to debit from my life. One of the things that I started 2 years ago was a dad's group for young dads in our community and within our church. And I did my research, by the way, and I found out. Um, does anybody out there know by chance the number of podcasts that are specifically geared towards fathers? I'll go ahead and give you the answer. There's one. There's one. Do you know how many are out there for moms? Almost 8,000. Another great example, Mother's Day is the fourth most popular holiday in the United States. Father's Day is the 20th most popular holiday. So, what that told me was that we have a severe fatherhood issue. So, I started a dad's group within our church, and all these guys come to my house every single Monday. I feed them all, and then I talk to them and hang out with them and let them have that sounding board and that safe place to go, you know what? I'm not okay. Things do it. Look, it sucks. You need to have somebody in your life. I recommend at least three people that between those three people, they know everything there is to know about you. Between those three people, you live in a glass house because an idle mind is the devil's playground. I'll say it again, an idle mind is the devil's playground. So what I did was I started a dad's group, man, because I felt like I sucked. I felt like I was terrible at it. I remember coming home from the beach and going, Brittany, I'm terrible at this. I'm awful. She goes, what are you talking about? She goes, our daughter loves you. And I'm like, no, she don't. She only wants you. I'm nothing more than a glorified butler. And I remember sitting there feeling like helpless. And she told me, she said, I have to believe you're not the only one. So I started a dad's group. That dad's group's now turned into a podcast. That dad's group has now turned into every single week. I get calls from 4, 5, and 6 dads. But again, going back to the schedule, I choose when to answer that phone. I choose when I'm going to answer their needs. But I get calls from dads all the time that are going, man, I feel like I'm terrible at this. And when in reality, what it is, nobody's just told you you're doing a good job. And how that translates to this, no, some of us, You feel like you suck at it because you're not on the board, or you feel like you suck at it because you're comparing yourself to somebody else. When in reality, you have your own group every single day in that dial room, in that new agent room, that can help you out, that can answer every single one of those questions. That whenever you say, when you can put down the phone and go, oh my God, I suck at this, that you have actual Hall of freaking Fame producers that can tell you and teach you where you're going wrong. If only we had that in life. If only we had that somewhere else in life that we could go, man, I screwed this up. Like I messed this up. When in reality, the best part about it is you have that. If you surround yourself with enough people that only want to credit your life, you can't lose. It's that simple. You can't lose when you surround yourself with people who only want to see you win. And that's the best part about this team right here is everybody on this team wants to see you win. Everybody on this team wants to know how you are. And here's the thing: there's two types then that you can turn around and say, okay, everybody says when if I pass Rami in Walmart and I go, what's up, Rami? How's it going, man? He's gonna say, hey man, I'm doing good. How are you? I'm good. All right, cool. Well, make sure you have a great day, buddy. See you. Take care. If there's not somebody in your life that you can go, hey, Rami, how are you? How are you actually doing, buddy? And where Rami can then have that place to go, you know what, man? Life sucks right now, and I'm not okay. You see, the problem is we as a society have created this thing where it's not like it's almost frowned upon to not be okay. And if that's you and I'm talking to you today, let me just go ahead and just tell you this right now. It's okay to not be okay. If nobody's told you you're doing a good job as a mother, as a father, you're doing a good job. You're making a difference. It's kind of like watching a tree being planted. You're not going to wake up, you're not going to be able to plant it on Monday and on Friday have fruit. You've got to take care of it. You've got to nurture it. Nobody's told you you're doing a great job as an agent. You're doing a good job. Nobody's told you you're a good friend. You're a great friend. Believe that for yourself and surround yourself with people who only want to credit your life. You're gonna upset people. That's okay. They're just upset that they can't drag you to their level.
That's huge. Okay. He led with there's two types of people in your life, creditors and debitors. And I haven't heard that analogy, Devin, in a long time. So that really just hit for me. So thank you. Because guys, there's going to be if there aren't, or you don't already, or you didn't already eliminate a good portion of them, there are people in your life that are debtors. And whether you're okay with that or not, that's up to you. I think Devin just made a lot of great points. Biggest thing that I heard there was yes, you're going to have creditors, you're going to have debitors. But the best news about it is we get to choose who's going to be that debtor or creditor. Now, I'm
Right.
with you, Devin. I'm with the creditors. Like, and I want to credit people. That's what also fills my cup, is making other people feel good about themselves. But also piggyback, kind of taking a step back. Fathers group. I'm really thank you for sharing that. Because the first time you shared that with me, I was like, wow, like I was really engaged and listening, and like I was like, tell me more about it. Because like you said, that's not something that I hear every day. I hear a lot of things every day. That was not one of the things I heard every day. So being like, you know what? I got home from the beach or wherever you came with Brittany Ariel, and you were like, I just feel like I'm failing at this thing. And Brittany saying to you, I can't believe that you couldn't be the only dad that feels this way. And you're like, so what am I going to do about it? You started a dad's group. All right, you might be out there like, hey, I'm not a dad. All right, I hear you. I'm not a dad either. But his point isn't necessarily go into a dad's group. His point is get yourself around a group of people who are creditors to your life. It doesn't need to be a dad's group. For Devin, I want you to know, Devin, from me to you, you're a great dad and you are doing an amazing job. Okay? But being able to surround yourself with all those dads each and every Monday, I'm sure it fills your cup and it helps them a heck of a lot more than some of us probably may even know that are in attendance, so to say. And the three people that you can just air it out to, okay? Guys, maybe right now you're like, I have two, okay? I got two people I can air it out to. All right, cool. Who's that third person? That could be, and by the way, like, that could be a therapist. I don't think there's any shame in having a therapist or counselor. I think it's having a soundboard to talk to, and it
I
makes
have one.
complete sense to me. I have one as well. And honestly, like you said, anxiety, depression, all it's frowned upon if you're sad. Like, guys, I'm here to tell you everyone's sad in their own way, but everyone deals with it their own way. Don't let the devil come in or temptation come in and tell you it's you're messed up because you don't feel good today. You're messed up because you're anxious. You're messed up because you're sad. You're messed up because you can't figure out why you're sad. Guys, I say this with so much love and I'm not downplaying it, but 95% of America is that way. Does 95% of America admit it? No. But is that the dead honest? Yes. Yes. You're not different because you have anxiety or depression or you're sad or you're lonely or you feel like you don't know what the heck is going on. You're not by yourself, but you got to find your creditors. And just like Devin said, it's okay to not be okay, but be able to voice that to somebody, be able to call three people and talk to them about it. So, Devin, this has been awesome. I appreciate this immensely because, guys, whether this is hitting for you right now, right here in this moment, or it's going to hit for you maybe at a later date, it should hit for you. I don't care who you are. You could be, I already did all this. I went through hell for 30 years. I went through this. Okay, cool. Then you're on board. You know how important this is. But guys, this is a call. Like if you didn't take notes like I did, by the way, I took 3 pages of notes. Come back to this because when you're feeling tough on yourself or you want to beat the heck out of yourself, like no one can torture you more than yourself, right? So it's like, don't allow that to happen. Leave the creditors with you, get the debitors out of your life. You might make some people upset, but you're going to make yourself a whole lot happier. And that's worth it if you ask me. And now, Devin, just to kind of wrap the call, anything that you want to finish up with? And then if not, tell me a little bit about your goals wrapping up this year because we spoke briefly about them and I'm excited.
Yeah, so I really hammered hard and heavy into the annuity game, working a lot with teachers markets locally here and around my area. I live in tiny little Shelby County, Alabama, and the very thing to know about Shelby County, it's always under construction. Okay, no matter what, it's always going to be under construction. It always will be. I don't know why. That's just the way that it is. But my thing whenever I started was that nobody in Shelby County would outproduce me. I've now taken it out to where you're not going to outproduce me in my state, like in the state of Alabama. So I still have the goals to be able to walk the stage in the annuity game. We are we're tracking that direction. That's what I love about it. I'm meeting at least 3 or 4 times a week with very unique opportunities to be able to move money for people and be able to help them, put them in better places, to be able to truly better their lives. I take time with every single one of my clients and just tell them how thankful I am. I tell them all the time, man, you could have chosen anybody to do to be your insurance agent. You chose me. I don't take that lightly. Thank you so much for that. And then I ask for the referrals, and then that's why, like, truthfully, I probably spend the least amount of money of anybody on this team in leads. I'm not saying that that's the best idea in the world, but what I am saying is it's because I do a lot with my referral game, with generating my own leads here and around my county and my area. But then the thing that I would say is this: there's a lot of people that are on this call and that will listen to this later on. And every one of you, you've got things that are going on in your life. You've got things that are going wrong, things that are going right. You've got things that were different. You've got things that you wished that you could have done differently. You've got things that you wish would have played out differently. And I put it in the chat just a second ago. You're not the sum of your past mistakes.
Amen.
You're better. You're better than this moment. You're better than the moment when you feel like a bad person, when you feel like a bad friend, you feel like a bad wife, you feel like a bad mother, you feel like whatever because, oh, well, I screwed this up. You know what that makes you?
Amen.
That makes you a conqueror. You beat it. You beat it. You didn't fall. Sure, you may have gotten knocked down. Sure, you may have dealt with the shrapnel that hits you from the side every now and then. Yeah, you might have gotten a knife in the back along the way. But guess what? When you love and know yourself and trust yourself enough, that knife doesn't cut as deep. You can't hurt me whenever I can reach to the knife and get it myself. You can't hurt me whenever I make that decision every single day that I'm going to get up. I'm going to be the best version of who I am, the healthiest version of who I am. I got the other thing I didn't even tell you guys is I got in the gym. In January, I started out, I was 290. Never been that big in my life. I'm 268 today. Like
Let's
I mean,
go.
so I got healthy in the mind, and that was really the heart behind this was to supercharge your engine in your brain, in the 6 inches in between your head. That whenever you hang up from this call, that you're not sitting there and going, "Man, well, that was pretty good stuff. All right, cool. Let me pretend I didn't hear any of that and keep going." But what are you going to do that's going to make the difference? The implements, the strategies that you're going to have in your life. You're not the sum of your past mistakes, you're the conqueror. And you have to write that. If you have to write it down and say it to yourself, then do it. I'll end with this. I started with my dad's group. They asked me to start a church league men's softball team. I'm 35 years old. I don't move like I did. The idea, I'm not Jaden, okay? The idea of me going and playing softball sounds like an awful idea. And this season is brought to you by Tylenol. That's what it sounded like to me. And so I went to the actual senior pastor of our church and I said, "Hey, man, these guys really want to," because I didn't want to. They were like, he said, I said, "These guys really want to do a church softball team." He turns around and says, "Yeah, we had a team like, about 8 years ago." I was like, "That's cool. That's what they want to do. You take care, boss. Have a good day." He turns around and looks at me and goes, "All right, man, well, you're it." I said, "I'm sorry, do what?" He goes, "No, man, like we need somebody to manage it and run it. Like you're the leader of the group. They asked you, so you're it. Congratulations, you get the job." And I'm like, "I didn't want the job. I didn't want to do this." And he goes, "So here, by the way, you got to fundraise everything because we're not paying for it." And I was like, "Hey, all right, this is fun." So I took some time, I implemented the strategies, and I called a bunch of dudes around the church, and I was just like, "Hey, you're younger than I am. You look better than I do. You look like you might be athletic. You want to come play softball?" They were like, "Yeah, man, sounds like a great time." I said, "Cool. We're gonna have game nights 2 nights a week. By the way, we're not practicing. We're just gonna hit the field and go run. Like that's it. We're just gonna go." We played the first 2 games. We scored a whopping total of 4 runs, and the other team scored 20. And at the end of the night, I got the team together, and I remember like telling Brittany whenever I was leaving the dugout, I said, "I don't know that we win a game." And she turned around, she goes, "Oh, you get it together. Y'all got this." I said, "I'm glad one of us thinks that." And so I get the team together and I said, "All right, boys, hey, listen, here's the deal. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to get together. We're going to practice tomorrow. If you got plans, guess what? I just canceled them. We're going to get together. We're going to practice. And then, by the way, we have the undefeated, the only undefeated of the team of the season in the entire league on Monday night. Godspeed, guys." And we got together, we got into an extra innings game and actually wound up beating them that night. Whenever we got done, I said, listen, nobody can tell you what you can and cannot do once you step on that field. You control your destiny. What are you going to do with this opportunity that you've been given? That team went on to never lose another game. We won and run rolled competitive teams, dudes that played this game and get paid, and we beat them. And then we go to the playoffs. Whenever we get to the playoffs, it was a double elimination tournament. And by this point, I'm invested, right? Because I've done spent hours doing all of this and money and all these other things. And we lose our very first game of the playoffs. And I said, there's no way. There's no way that we just reeled off 14 straight games to lose in the first round right here. That's not happening. So we immediately had to turn around and play a doubleheader again just to stay alive. And we did that. And then come the championship night, we had to beat the same team twice in back-to-back games for us to be able to hoist the trophy.
And you did.
And we did. And we walked away with the Area League Championship. A bunch of guys that 4 months ago never knew anybody. We didn't know each other.
Right.
And somehow, and it didn't really click for me until the senior pastor got me into his office the next day and said, by the way, we're going to triple your contract of zero. And I was like, thanks a lot, boss. I appreciate you. And he goes, but by the way, here's what you need to know and understand. He said, Devin, you took 16 guys that did not know each other and you made them champions. And I don't care if it's church freaking softball. When you win a championship, you win a championship. And
Right.
so what happened was I literally had to tell myself in that game that we were facing on the brink of elimination, I said, I'm not losing this game. I will be a champion. I've never won a championship in my life in anything. As you can tell, I'm not the most athletic guy in the world. So the opportunity to do that was astounding. And we did. And I tasted that victory. I tasted that championship. And here's what that taught me is that I can take that and apply that in my life. To where tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up and I will be the best agent on that phone. If I'm not today, I will be tomorrow. I will buy those leads and screw the fear. I will do the things and listen to my coaching and listen to the teaching that Christina, Marissa, Rami, Heather, all these people do such a great job at. I will be the best. I told myself that on the softball field, and it was true. Tell myself that every morning. I will be the best version of me today. Not I hope I can, I will.
Absolutely. And that I will be the best version of me today. That's huge because that's how you're stepping into the day. And there's not a doubt in my mind that you're going to hit the goals that you want to hit this year. Get healthy, the 6 inches in between here, guys. This is what this whole call was about. And I think that Devin did an amazing job at outlining different things and being able to relate to different people. So I applaud you for that. And your outros, yeah, I'm like, okay, like you outroed like 100. I was like, mic drop. Then I was like, wait, no, mic drop. Like that was great. That was great. And biggest thing that I would love everybody on this team to take away, because I feel like guys, like whether you went through stuff or you haven't been through stuff in life, like we all probably at this point in at 18, I don't care if you're 18, you've been through something in your life. You're not the sum of your mistakes. We all have made mistakes. Whatever your mistake is, big, small, indifferent, nobody even knows about it. Nobody cares about it. Everybody knows about it. Everybody cares about it. It doesn't matter. Today, right now, we all get to hit the reset button. And that's the best thing about life is that if you keep moving and you trust you and you're secure with you, nobody can mess with you. So, Devin, I applaud you for just the way that you've come around in terms of the business, in terms of your whole lifestyle, in terms of how you got a bunch of dads together, because I couldn't ever picture anybody doing a better job than you. How you've showed up for your family, you showed up for yourself, and you got better here And it also allowed you, from what I'm hearing, is to get better here in terms of in the business, here in terms of in your life, here in terms of physically, and most importantly, here in terms of mentally. So, guys, let's get right up here, and everything else is going to reflect it. Devin, this call was absolutely amazing. I appreciate you always, but I really appreciate you taking the time to be on with us today. You killed it.
Thank, thank you so much. It was